Radar has a long and successful record in war and peace, as a device for obtaining information and as a control instrument. It has now been adopted as a standard field artillery equipment for the location of mortars, for the observation and control of artillery fire, and for the detection of enemy movement in rear areas. The radar coming into action here is the Field Artillery No. 1 Mark I, a fully mobile equipment mounted on a half-track and towing its own generator. In time, the present FA set is likely to be replaced as new equipment becomes available. In particular, newer sets are likely to be more compact and better adapted to concealment in forward areas. But the principles that govern the tactical handling of radar in its field army role have been well established and are unlikely to be materially affected by any change in the design of the sets themselves. This film is concerned with principles only. Its object is to demonstrate the tactical handling of field artillery radar in its main roles in battle. Let us take the case of an advanced guard which has made contact with an enemy in force.
I'm held at figures 500 yards short of Kangaroo by heavy mortar and anti-tank.
When a division goes into action, one of the earliest supporting elements to be deployed will be the divisional counter-mortar organization. At a very early stage, the CRA will send for the commander of the divisional locating battery and the divisional counter-bombardment officer.
Hello, Nigel.
I've got Nicholson and Travers here, sir.
Good. I've just got time to see them before I take a look at 41st. Hello there, John.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, Ted.
Hello, sir.
I just want to see you for a moment. Nigel's told you what I want, I take it?
Yes, sir.
Well, as you know, we've made contact. Enemy in some strength. There are more arriving every minute. However, we have a foothold across the river, and the division's deploying along that line. You got your maps marked?
Yeah.
Right. Now, everyone wants counter-mortars soonest, with some reason. The mortars are being very tiresome, to say the least. So, John, I want you to deploy the locating battery right away. You've got a couple of hours of daylight left. That should give you time to wreck your radar positions anyway, so you can move them in as soon as it gets dark.
Yes, sir. Luckily, I've got the radars pretty well forward. I reckon I can get them into action about an hour after dark.
How does that suit you, Ted?
Yes, I'll be ready for them by then, sir.
And what about the sound ranges?
Well, the survey's going to be a bit tricky. I doubt if we can get it finished much before dawn.
Well, you better be off then.
Right, sir.
Now, Ted, about your guns.
The divisional counter-mortar organization consists of, first, a counter-bombardment staff troop commanded by the divisional counter-bombardment officer. This troop, with sections at brigades, controls retaliation. Secondly, there is a divisional locating battery. Locating mortars is everybody's job, but it is the prime responsibility of the locating battery commander, who has specialized equipment at his disposal. From the map, the locating battery commander plans how he will deploy his battery to cover the divisional front, using templates showing the effective zones of his locating devices. Let us consider his problem on a diagram map of the divisional front, showing the battalion areas of the two forward brigades. First of all, he has 3 sound-ranging short bases, each consisting of 4 microphones and an advanced post about 1,000 yards ahead. This advanced post must obviously be sited in an infantry area for local protection. Further, the short base is not equally accurate over the whole of its effective zone. It will provide a location within 100 yards in this area only. This is known as an A location. In this area beyond, it will provide a B location, that is, within 200 yards. In planning, it is the area of A locations, with its relatively short range, that we must reckon with. So the short base must be well forward, and with its axis of reception roughly at right angles to the front. Obviously, these factors leave little choice in sighting, and therefore the battery commander sights his short bases first. Once committed, the short bases are not easily redeployed, so that where possible, one short base is kept in reserve in case of sudden advance or withdrawal. In this case, the battery commander has sighted his short bases to cover the flanks of the division, leaving a gap in the center to be covered by radar. To close this gap effectively, radars are normally sighted in enfilade, making the best use of their fighting range of 7,000 yards, and minimizing the fact that they can only effectively search an arc of 15 degrees at any one time. Like the advanced posts of the short bases, radar must be sighted in infantry areas for local protection. In this case, therefore, the radars are sighted here and here. The battery commander has now secured an A location coverage across the entire front within this area. Though the search arc of radar is so narrow, its flexibility enables it to be switched rapidly, so that it can in practice be given a primary arc much wider than 15 degrees, if the ground in front is suitable and an approximate indication of the suspected mortar area is given. In this case, for instance, the battery commander hopes to cover a primary arc of 35 degrees with the right-hand radar and 40 degrees with the left-hand one. He will then be able to search in this area if required. There is also a possible weakness over on the left flank in this area, which is beyond A location range for the short base, but still dangerously close to our own FDLs. However, this is within range of the left flank radar, and the battery commander gives it a secondary arc to watch over here. This layout is, of course, only one of many possible solutions for a divisional front. If no sound-ranging bases are to be deployed, or weather conditions are unfavorable, the radars will have to be prepared to locate over as much of the front as possible. This especially applies to radars covering an isolated or independent brigade area. It would appear as if the battery commander has only sighted 2 radars. In fact, each of these radar symbols represents a section of 2. If possible, radar should be sighted in this way to allow for maintenance. In addition, there are in the radar troop 4 listening posts, which the battery commander now deploys. The information obtained by these LPs, and by the advanced posts of the sound-ranging bases, and by all the other gunner and infantry OPs along the front, has a vital part in directing radar onto its target. We have seen that radar can only have a search arc of 15 degrees. So if it is to locate mortars successfully within a primary arc of, say, 40 degrees, it must be given an indication of where to look. As soon as he has completed his plan, the battery commander issues his orders.
Baker Troop, right section. Grid reference, Queen Mike Fox, Tear Dog Baker. Primary arc.
7, sit rep. In action, grid reference, Queen, Mike, Hal, Chair, Fox, King, primary arc, figure...
As each radar comes into action on its previously reconnoitred position, it reports itself to the counter-bombardment staff troop, and its position and primary and secondary arcs are plotted on the counter-bombardment chart. In this situation, the counter-mortar organization is being controlled at divisional level. If the circumstances dictate, however, control will be exercised by ACBOs at brigades.
I've spotted Baker 1, sir.
Each radar, on coming into action, is given an area to search.
Signal up. Message to Baker 1. Search mortar area, grid reference 847498.
Hello, 27, search mortar area, grid reference, figures...
In addition to the radars themselves, the listening posts of the radar troop are in action. These listening posts are also in direct wireless communication with the CB staff troop. Both radars and LPs need local protection, and for this they depend on the infantry.
Oh, hello, sir. Is everything all right?
Yes, thank you, Brian.
The CO of one of the infantry units involved has already found that a mortar locating radar is not always easy to protect, since it must be sighted where it is technically able to do its job.
On our way back from Dog Company, we dropped in on those radar chaps who asked to come into our area. Maynard was most disappointed, weren't you, Maynard?
Yes, sir.
He thought it was going to be a mixed unit.
You'd like some more tea, sir?
Yes, please.
You know, these odd units are a bit of a problem. They come into our area and ask for our protection, and then insist on sighting themselves just where we can't give it. At night especially.
I suppose they want to skyline themselves on the highest hill in sight.
Oh, no. For locating mortars, apparently, they have to be several hundred yards down the reverse slope, which, of course, is outside our perimeter. However, I've adjusted Able Company's position to here, and now everyone's happy.
Are the raiders in action yet?
Oh, yes. They're hard at work, busy locating mortars for us, I hope.
Mortar, Charlie. Grid, 305 degrees, south. Dog, 2317 hours.
Hello, 26, Mortrap. Charlie, grid... 305 degrees south. Dog, figures 2317 hours. Over.
26, roger, out.
Mortar from LP1, sir. LP1, bearing 305 degrees. This looks like a new one. Lucky it's in the radar primary arcs, as the short bases aren't in yet.
Dog figures 2317 hours. Easy. Continuing. Over.
What's up tomorrow, Pearson?
Fox, Charlie Company by the sound of it. Better get it over to ACBR Brigade right away. Not that it's likely to do poor old Charlie much good.
How's it going, Alan? We've got a Mortrap from LP1, sir. Just come in, bearing 305 degrees. I've put one radar on this area, and the other over here. Between them, they cover nearly 3,000 yards of the ray behind this feature, which is the most likely area. But then, of course, the mortar may equally well be down here. Yes. Pity one of the radars isn't looking along the ray, then we'd have the whole thing covered. As it is, I think you're going to need another Mortrap.
Mortar from the infantry, sir?
Dog 2317 hours. Looks like the same one. Looks as if we're going to have to move Baker 1 a bit to the right.
When the radar is searching in the direction of the mortar, the detachment can expect to see an echo from the next mortar bomb on the radar display.
Action! Right 2 degrees, minus 400. Shot! Fix!
Redial.
334 degrees, 34 minutes. 334 degrees, 34 minutes. 5, 600. 5, 600.
Corrections paid.
Right, 30 minutes, plus 50. Right, 30 minutes, plus 50.
Corrections paid.
Left, 1 degree, minus 25. Left, 1 degree, minus 25.
The detachment have fixed 2 points along the trajectory of the mortar bomb. From these, by calculating back along the trajectory, they obtain the position of the mortar.
Hello, 27, lock rep. Mike figures 25. Peter figures 186. 2, 1.
Yes, you can put the mediums onto that. Sigler, bombard to 21st medium. Bombard 8650, Fox Able George. Grid reference 86215062. Height 400 feet. Scale 3. Terabatin.
How? Oh! Oh! Correct! In! Number 2! Ready? Number 3! Ah!
We have seen how, within a division, radar is used to locate mortars. We must now consider radar in its other roles: detection of movement and observation of fire. In these roles, radar is used at corps level, where there is a radar troop in the corps locating regiment. The enemy is present in strength, and the corps commander considers an attack is imminent. There are only 2 roads along which a major enemy build-up can take place. Let us call them red route and blue route. If the corps commander knows that one road is being used more than another, he can say where the enemy's thrust will come, and can dispose his reserves accordingly. A complicating factor is the existence of a large lake on his right flank, running deep into our territory and dangerously close to a supply route. The corps commander fears that an attack on this flank may be accompanied by a waterborne attack across the lake with the object of cutting the road. He has therefore given orders for a 24-hour radar watch on red and blue routes in the area of this crossroad and this road junction, where they are joined by this lateral road, and for the lake to be covered by radar and guns. Corrections to the guns being given by observation of shell bursts on the radar display. The radar problem is discussed at a conference between the CCRA and the BGS.
With radar, there's an intervisibility problem, you see. Our command isn't very good, but we ought to be able to get a look at them from this ridge down here.
Is that in range?
Oh, yes. We can see any vehicles at 20,000 yards, and heavier stuff up to 30,000. Provided the radial velocity is at least 5 miles an hour.
And that means exactly what?
Well, provided the range from radar to vehicle is altering by at least 5 miles an hour. Is that clear?
Ah, yes. Yes, I've got it. Mm-hmm.
The trouble is, at ranges like this, factors like the curvature of the Earth come into it. So intervisibility needs pretty careful checking. However, assuming that side of it's all right, we ought to be able to give you what you want. A complete picture of vehicle movement on red and blue routes in both directions.
You won't forget the lateral road, will you? If we can watch both ends of that, we can compare up and down traffic figures, which may help us a lot. It's a pity we've got a silent policy on these roads. We could catch them nicely with radar observed fire at those crossroads.
Of course, you do realize we may be spoofed. You know, the old stage army going round over and over again.
Oh, very subtle. All right, Peter, if you tell us an army group's moved in overnight, I'll try and get it confirmed by air. Now, the lake. What's your reaction to that?
Perfectly happy. Provided, again, we can get a look at it. I'm sorry to keep harping on that point.
What about observation of fire?
It'll be just as easy as shooting at vehicles moving along a road. Easier, perhaps, because we shan't be bothered with ground clutter. By the way, you've heard we can only function on the lake by night.
Yes, why?
Well, it's a simple question of establishment. You see, we've only got 4 radars in the regiment, and we need 2 to keep up a 24-hour watch on red route. Luckily, you've agreed to watch blue route by day, so we only need the 1 radar there for the night watch, which leaves the 4th equipment free for the lake. But it won't run to a day and night coverage, I'm afraid, because of the need for maintenance.
Meanwhile, the radar troop commander has been making his reconnaissance and deploying his troop. He has deployed his left section here, where the 2 radars can, between them, maintain a 24-hour watch on the crossroads on red route. The right section is further forward and more widely spaced. 1 radar watching the road junction on blue route, and the other the lake, where it has a primary arc of 35 degrees. Both these radars are operating during darkness only. The troop commander has found a position which enables the radar watching blue route to switch in an emergency to watch the lake, which is the more important task.
Well, that layout seems okay. Now, what's this about both right section radars being able to watch the lake?
Well, sir, I reckon we've got to watch the lake every minute of the night. We can't afford a break there, so I decided to switch the second set to the lake whenever the first set shuts down. There's a 3-hourly running check on the generator, for instance.
Yes, I think that's sound. I'd better tell Regiment they'll have to accept occasional breaks in the coverage on blue route. Still, it'll only be for a few minutes at a time, so I don't think it'll matter much. By the way, who have you got to do any shooting on the lake?
Well, it's Wood's section.
Good enough. Have you netted with 19 Medium Regiment?
Yes, and Wood's already registered the lake. He knows he's a specially authorized OP.
Does he know how to alert the infantry in case of trouble?
Playing Kingfisher? Oh, yes, I explained all that to him.
Good enough, Derek. I'd better be off now and see my survey chaps. Start up, driver. You're already watching red route, I imagine?
For the last 2 hours.
Good.
From this ridge, one of the left section radars is watching the crossroads on red route 14,000 yards away. On the display, vehicles appear as moving echoes.
3 vehicles, direction south. Speed 22 miles an hour.
In this case, the radar reports back direct to regimental headquarters of the corps locating regiment every 3 hours.
Hello, 8 Able. Long message, over.
The reports of all the radars are consolidated at our HQ and are then forwarded to corps.
Intelligence.
Radar reports, sir, from the locating regiment, covering the last 48 hours.
Good. What sort of overall picture have we got now?
Well, sir, it's pretty clearly established that they're using blue route as an up route only, and feeding all the down traffic from this area across by the lateral road to red route. Red route is used alternately for up and down traffic in 4-hourly periods. Comparing the density of traffic on the 2 routes, it's clear that the major build-up is taking place by blue route.
How does the up traffic compare with the down?
Oh, there's a lot more coming up than going down, sir. There must be quite a concentration of vehicles in this area. unless, of course, they're fanning out behind the lake. There have been several nose-to-tail columns coming up Blue Route at night, and nothing comparable going back along the lateral road. Also, there's quite a lot of movement off the road, parallel to Blue Route.
Track vehicles, eh?
Yes, sir.
Looks as if we're going to have trouble on that flank. I hope to heaven we've got that lake covered all right.
Look, sir, they're moving. Hello 8, plan Kingfisher. Over. Hello 8 for Charlie, Charlie 3. Mike target, Mike target, Mike target. Over. Target Mike, 2153. 10 assault craft, moving southwest. Oboe tower, 25 degrees. Over. One round gunfire. Over. How? Correct. Ready? 2-3 ready. Time of flight. 20 seconds. Out. Fire. Over. Fire! Fire by order. All drop 150. 3 rounds gunfire. Over. How? Correct. Ready? 2-3 ready. 4-3 ready. Out. Fire. Over. All drop 150. 3 rounds gunfire. Over. Just a minute, sir. I think they're turning back. All go left 200. Add 300. 1 round gunfire. Over. 2-3 ready. 4-3 ready. Out. Fire. Over. Fire. All go left 100, add 150. 1 round gunfire. Over. How? Connect. 2-3 ready, 4-3 ready. Out. Fire. Over. That's got him, sir.
Yes.
Attack dispersed. Stand easy. Over.
To sum up, field artillery radar can be used as a counter-bombardment device at divisional level to locate mortars.
Shot. 6. Redial. 334 degrees, 34 minutes.
Signaller. Bombard for 21st medium. Bombard 8650, Fox Able George. Grid reference 8621.
Radar is also used as an intelligence device at corps level to look deep into enemy territory and detect the movements of his transport.
3 vehicles, direction south.
Blue route as an up route only, and feeding all the down traffic from this area across by the lateral road to red route.
Finally, radar can be used as a specialized artillery OP, again at corps level, for the observation of fire on targets which cannot be seen by ordinary OPs. For detection of movement or observation of fire, radar needs to be intervisible with its target. It will therefore normally be sighted well camouflaged on high ground. If exposed to ground attack, it will require local protection. When locating mortars, radar is sighted well forward, and local protection is imperative. If necessary, positions must be adjusted so that all radars are included in defended areas.
For locating mortars, apparently, they have to be several hundred yards down the reverse slope, which of course is outside our perimeter. However, I've adjusted Able Company's position to here. And now everyone's happy.
In all these roles, radar can be of immense service, both to commanders who understand the capabilities of the equipment and its tactical handling, and to the fighting soldier.